What's up,
Hey,
Ross?
how's it going?
Good, thanks to you, bro.
Doing pretty good. Staying busy.
Good. Good stuff, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, always. Thanks for joining. Hey, Lucas.
Hi there. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good, good.
Just jamming here. Hey, Mitchell.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
What's up, Mitchell?
Hey, how's it going, Justin?
Good, good, man.
Cool. As we kind of let people join in here, typically typically the way that we run these is just kind of general Q&A to get started, and then we'll go over some of the updates and new features that we just released on Tuesday, and then some of the new ones that will be coming out on Saturday. And we'll go over all this. Hey, Luke. We'll go over
Hey,
all
how's it
that.
going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks.
Cool. So if anybody has any questions, you can just do like the little Zoom hand raise. We can just kind of go around the room, and if anybody wants to just kind of kick things off, feel free to just kind of go ahead and ask.
I
Yeah,
don't know how yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So one of the big things we're looking to use it, for our customer support platform, and the tokenization and the pricing. So we noticed, like, obviously, version 4 is really great, 25 tokens per request. That will add up really quick for what we're doing. Is there a way to divert like templated responses, or if we capture something that we know the answer 100%, we don't need to hit open API, that we could prevent doing the request to ChatGPT?
That's a good question. So like right now we have the ability to do prioritized Q&A, which could potentially lead to a future feature that would allow it to not do that. So for example, if the semantic search returns at like a 98% plus positive match, we could set it up to be that, maybe. I mean, is that kind of on my first take? That's kind of like how I would think about it almost.
Yeah, so basically we're a drop shipping platform, and we're about to launch. We're unsure of like the scale, like how quickly our scaling is going to occur. So like that's one thing we're trying to really have a handle on, what our costs are going to be for our support, because that's like a huge thing for us. So that's one question, like if we would be able to subvert that, or maybe even if we had kind of a plugin that we have a set of question and answer templates, like we capture it, prevent it actually using our credits if we know the answer.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll write that down. We'll get that added to the roadmap and see what we can do. We'll look into that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Lucas, I think you had one.
Yeah. So there was this question from a client. Annual billing, that's something from your end, right?
Yeah, so we've got a few questions on that recently to offer different types of packages like that. Is that something that you'd also like, I'm assuming, as well?
That's not from my end.
Okay.
From your subscription, but it's with clients. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Yeah.
So it was something I was asked about, and it would be pretty neat. I found out that a lot of businesses prefer to do it annually, not monthly, and yeah, that would be cool.
Cool. Yeah, I know that was one thing that we had originally on our map, and we were like, let's just get it out with monthly to get started. But yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, obviously, like it works, obviously, but
yeah.
Cool. And a little question with that. when you're scraping web for the information or when the website updates, the scraping follows the update. You don't have to re-enter it.
Not yet.
That's
No.
not yet.
Not yet. No.
Right.
So currently it's static. So you scrape the
All
website,
right.
it all comes down, and then it it's in the knowledge base.
All right. That's no problem. Just to know. Yeah.
Yep. There is a live update thing that's in the roadmap. I think we added that like last week or 2 weeks ago.
All right.
So once we finish up the lead gen features, and I'll go over that more at the end of the call, but those lead gen that's like our main focus right now, is get out these lead gen features, and then we'll start focusing on some of these other back end and dashboard, optimizations and enhancements. Because
I gotcha.
Yeah,
the lead gen is much more important, and
the value add there for all of us, including all of our associated clients, it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I saw the demo of it.
It is.
It's like, what the fuck? How did they do this?
So like after Tuesday when you were talking about it, it was it blew my mind.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Ross, I had another quick one. I don't know if it would be feature requests or if you had any recommendations for a way we could work through this. A lot of the like WooCommerce integrated bots have kind of that product, it will nicely format the product to direct the user from the chat to the actual landing page of the product. One thing we had been looking at is, we'll output our product recommendations based like from the sources we gave it, but it's just kind of a plain text URL. So I was looking into the idea of like kind of doing a regex scraper. If I find a URL, say, okay, replace that HTML as, the nice format we want for our product recommendations. Rather than me doing something like that, where it's like just continually hitting that panel, do you have any recommendations for ways we could change the formatting if it's doing something specific?
Yeah, so we released the Markdown update like a week ago. So what you can do is in your base system prompt now, add in a rule or a line that says, render the chat in Markdown, and Chat-GPT will actually, the response will be in Markdown, and then our chat widget can render that to show up as formatted text. So you can have a headline, bullet point list, links that are not HTML, like next to each other.
Perfect.
It'll just be like in the link.
Awesome. I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah. Not your fault. That's our fault because we haven't made any support materials on that yet because it just came out. So yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you.
Of course. Justin, how about you? Just hanging out?
Yeah, bro. I'm just here to chill, eh?
Right on. Cool.
Yeah, just hoping I can learn some things, pick up on some golden nuggets. I am planning on using the software at some point pretty soon. I'm just chatting to clients here and there, and the more I learn, the clearer my value proposition gets, and et cetera, et cetera. So early days for me, but excited about what you're doing and appreciate what you've built so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. Excited to hear more about what you've got going on later on when you get started.
Sure thing. Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Cool. Yeah, the lead gen stuff is gonna be pretty cool. I'll just kind of go into that a little bit now. So the features that we got working, we built, they're all working internally, is in chat or in conversation lead gen. So the use case or example is it's kind of a two-pronged approach. So there's that form on the front end of the chat widget that is currently collecting, optional or required to collect the email address prior to that chat session starting. And if you do that, right now, that lead will now come into, I'll bring up an example so we have some visuals here. All right, so when you're making a bot, you have the option right now to have user email collection. And so you can make it required, optional, or have it not be asked at all. And this is where we are currently. We're currently working on updating this to be a fully customized form. So that way you can ask any variable questions, custom, email, phone number, what's your favorite color, whatever it may be. And that's like, typical, that's normal. That's what, everyone would expect. And when somebody enters in their information, now all of that information will show up in the View Leads tab, which is now able to be downloaded and exported via a CSV. And so that's everyone has access to that right now. So what is exciting is instead, or in addition to be able to customize this form where it says enter in your email, we will also eventually be able to train the chatbot to ask in the conversation, what's your email address? What's your favorite color? What's your gross household income? And then it will pull all of that information out of the chat, and it will basically add another column with the data that they've entered in the chat attributed to their user ID or, their chat ID and their user email. And with our API that will allow you to export all of this information automatically, the flow that this essentially sets up for, your agency is a lead gen tool that allows you to embed this on an existing website that has existing traffic, and then people's information gets captured by the bot and then is sent via the API to the client's CRM. And because you as the agency are able to do that with your white label API, you can have a notification sent to you as well. So at the end of the month, you could be like, hey, business, I generated you 5,000 leads, and, your list grew, and how many of those, converted to clients, whatever it may be. Like here, it's a true value add rather than just being a cost reduction value add, like where we are right now. So that's the main thing. And then as this progresses, the main thing that we can do with that feature is be able to automatically schedule appointments on people's calendars. And that's where this becomes just like supercharged like crazy. So not only is the list growing, but you're booking meetings on the calendar automatically. Customers are satisfied. Costs are being reduced. Like it's win, 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 win. So very excited about all that.
Yeah, these features are amazing.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm so excited to not only use them, ourselves, but be able to just get feedback from you guys about it, because I think this is where we've started, like all the feedback from the hundreds of agency owners that I've talked to over the last couple of months. Everybody, including the most experienced, guys that are making 8-9 figures, whatever. Everyone is like, how do we price this? How do we sell this? Like, what's the value off? Like and it's because it's all so new to everybody. And what I've realized is, yeah, the cost reduction of customer support, that's great. And that's a huge value add. Being able to answer customer questions and increase customer satisfaction, that's great. But businesses and agencies, typically it all kind of gets funneled or redacted down to how much more money can I make from this thing rather than save money. Like saving money is great, but I actually want to make more money. And the lead generation stuff aligns perfectly with that like mentality. Is like, here's a thing, here's like a one thing that you can install that will generate more leads. So it's really cool. Some other interesting notes from conversations I've had recently about some of our agencies that have upgraded and have been buying more bots and more credits. And they're outpacing our revenue from new subscribers, which is interesting. So the agencies that have found out that their niche is not necessarily charging hundreds or thousands of dollars per month for chatbots, but it's really focusing on credit rebilling. And so they're setting their agencies up to be like a Verizon or an AT&T, where the cost and setup is extremely low, but they're just getting people recharging on the credits because their whole focus is converting them to using Chat-GPT 4, which costs more, which means they're paying more, which means they're getting more, basically more money. And the lowest that I've heard is people are charging 1 cent per message credit. And that's at the very highest end that we charge agencies, that's double what we're charging. That's double the cost. And at the high end, that's triple, 3.3x the cost. So yeah, it's quite interesting. So that's something to think about. Like, yeah.
So does that mean that if an agency was going to charge, let's just say $50 per month regularly, not with the what you just mentioned, just a regular charge, in order to beat that, or in order to make more than that using this method you just mentioned now, that would be assuming that the client spends or sends 5,000 messages in the month.
Well, yeah, depends on how much you have in your standard package. If it is 5,000, we ballpark everybody at 2,000 per chatbot per month to start. And then what we found is typically, as long as people aren't trying to break the chatbot, the average maximum amount of chats and responses is 13 or 14. And that's at the very high end. So typically it's a lot lower than that. So what the math that we kind of do generally, like, you know, the back of napkin math is you take your total number of monthly page views, and this is how you can position this to a client. What's the total, you know, monthly number of website visitors that you're getting? 50% of those people expect to have a live chat option available, some sort of chat thing available. So chop that number in half, and then that's the number of people that need that thing. So if you don't have that, you can basically be like, okay, well, if you have 100,000 visitors, 50,000 of them are leaving. That's 50,000 people you could be engaged with if you add my tool to your website.
Yeah,
that's an add bonus value there. 25% of people actually engage with those chatbots to that average quantity amount. So it's just this like kind of tiered. It's a very like logically tiered, and obviously the numbers aren't that. It's like 48% and 36%. I just ballpark it as 50 and 25 to do, you know, so that conversation math is easy. So that way, if you can take that number and just showcase to the client, okay, this is the number of people that will engage with this chatbot on average per month, and this is the amount of credits on average that they will send to and from. That math will allow you to kind of create a package that will be like, okay, you're getting it's $50 a month. You get one chatbot, 2,000 message credits, let's say. And then based off of the math that you're doing, you would need to have purchased, you know, another 3 rebills or packages of the additional message credits. And because we have auto rebilling enabled, they don't have to worry about any of that. It's just all done automatically.
Okay. Is it 25% of the 50% or 25% of the? Okay.
25 of the 50. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah. And I'll send a link where this is actually a really good article. We've been pulling metrics from this as well. There's a lot of good percentages and information in this link as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Business leaders claim that on average, chatbots improve sales by 67%. So if we're starting to collect leads along with that mentality, starts to become pretty powerful. And especially if agencies are also providing, the back end funnel and, email flows, whatever automations, whatever it may be, you can kind of tie these things together.
Yeah. Is there some functionality or potentially to come with the widget actually kind of, moving or saying, hey, it's something to the effect of click me,
Yes, definitely. We're working on those, are on the roadmap. There's a few different options that we have. There's going to be the ability for it to be open automatically when on the page load. There will be the option to set a certain amount of seconds prior to it popping up automatically on page load. And then we'll also have like teaser questions. So if it's not open, if it's closed, there will be option to have like little teaser questions that like show up above it when when clicked, that is like that's the first user's message that gets sent into the chat prompting the response.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And then the final one of that is when the chat is open, there will be pre-positioned questions at the bottom where users can like, oh, that's a frequently asked question. I'm just going to click it. And then that's the message. That's the first user's message that comes.
Yeah, that makes a big difference with regards to initiating that conversation.
People just hate typing,
Even one letter is like, I don't know what letter to press, so I'm not going to press one,
Right? Yeah.
Very cool.
And that's what's kind of cool about the in-chat lead generation features is so you can have the user prompt and start the chat in that method. And then that first or second or maybe third response, the chatbot's gonna be like, great. I'm glad I could help answer that question. By the way, what's your email? And I'll send you a coupon.
Yeah.
And then it can be able to collect that user's email address and then send it via the API. When it gets to the CRM via API, that triggers the automation to send the coupon via email to that user's email.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I mean, it seems like you are creating as good of a not comparison, competitor or alternative rather to what most people are using something like BotPress for at the moment, or on like a basic level, because I mean, you got things like, I know you don't mind me mentioning this because what you're doing is better than this, but you got things like Chatbase and like Dante and those sort of, but those are not quite as robust as what you're building. So then people go for things like BotPress, but that's you actually getting onto something here that's even better than a basic BotPress bot that most agencies offer. And so you really are onto something good here, man. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. The BotPress, all those people all those competitors that you mentioned, when everyone first got started, everyone was doing the exact same thing. And I realized that was going to be like that business model is going to be commoditized. So we decided to focus on building the actual white label foundation of the platform first and focus on all that stuff first, because that allows us to align our goals with your goals as an agency rather than just trying to sell it. And,
it makes a lot more sense, man.
Yeah. So once we get some of these lead gen things out, we're going to have, I think, even more people come to it. And we get people saying this a lot, like, oh, I went and tried BotPress or VoiceFlow or, whatever it may be. And once I built out this crazy spider web, super complex thing, it breaks at scale, it breaks, or it's super slow, or it doesn't respond. And they're like, I went back to your platform and it's just so easy to kind of get these things in order and get started super easily. And the thing that we're missing essentially is just these little extra features that will eventually bring us up to parity with all of our competitors, because that's what they only focus on essentially.
Yeah. And the bot's memory within the chat, what is that like? Maintaining context throughout, etc.
Yeah. So it goes based off of the context length of the prompt. So it depends on how long your base system prompt is and how long your individual question and answers are that get added as text embeddings that then get returned as chunks that then get added to the prompt that then get sent to OpenAI. And so what happens is typically we max it out at about 10 to 12 question and answers within the conversation, because on average, that's about how many people are doing anyways. So that's the average. And so what is actually sent to OpenAI is a combination of kind of all those things. It's your base system prompt, then it's the top results from the knowledge base based off of the user's query, and then it's then it's that basically, and then and then it's the conversation, past conversation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, well, that's 10 to 12 is generally more than enough. Yeah.
Generally, yeah. And as we add more models too, like we're going to be adding Claude 2, which is another model from Anthropic soon, and that model has 100,000 token window, which is, I suppose,
16 or 32 or something like that,
with the API, it's actually 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's quite small, but what we found is like when you're trying to do summarization, it works well having a large context window. So content generation for summarization with Claude works extremely well if you want to like upload an entire book and then have it be like, summarize this book. However, when it comes to chatting and having a conversation, that is completely different than content generation and summarization. And so the way that these models are kind of built from the ground up is very fundamentally different. And so what'll be interesting is the use cases that we'll be able to provide using Claude 2 as the backbone model will open up the opportunities to do more content generation where Chat-GPT is for conversations.
Yeah. That's cool, because then you can start building agents as well as chatbots.
Anything. Yeah. And our goal is to build the infrastructure to allow you guys to build whatever it is that you want, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So Ross,
sorry, dude, I've taken that more than enough. Go ahead there, Mitchell.
No, Justin, if finish your thought. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying, I don't know about you guys, but generally speaking, even for me, when it comes to these low code, no code tools, I'm still completely clueless. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, there's no, you say no code here, but I still don't know what on earth I'm doing. Yep. So I really do appreciate the simplicity that you're working on there.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting, kind of along those lines. I love the UI. I love the training module and just the organization of everything. Going back to that idea, like Claude allowing 100,000 or token for summarization, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed it just in my straight up Chat-GPT, like long developed like programming snippets I'm working on, where it will start, kind of hallucinating, or like it seems like it's almost snipping its its memory from earlier parts of the chat. Mm-hmm. So with, I love the scraping feature that you have. Like you put in the URL and it loads all of the references. At what point, is there a point that you give it too much data that it's not able to like effectively kind of traverse through all of that, especially with like products, if we have like 1,000 product pages or something like
that? The short answer is yes, but it's within the context of what is contextual information. So a good example of that is if you're loading a web page raw, let's say, just scraping it down, there's going to be the header, the footer. There's a lot of other stuff that's on a web page that is not related to what a user is going to be asking a question about. So what we found is if you start loading hundreds and hundreds of website pages, all of that stuff starts taking up space and doesn't confuse the bot, but there's a higher probability of it giving less contextual information because the database that it's pulling from is just so large. So the information in the snippets that it's pulling from the text embeddings would include some of the header information or some other links, and it's like that has no way in relation to what the answer is, but because it's surrounding the information that has the contextual information, it's not as good. So the workaround, the solution to this is, and I can show you an example, but it's essentially using Chat-GPT and the Web Pilot plugin to ask it to generate QA pairs based off of a website URL.
Got it.
Are you familiar with the Web Pilot plugin?
No, I'm actually checking it out now.
Okay.
I do a lot of scraping work. I have a Chrome extension that I've been working through.
Nice.
And I was going to ask about that because, I do a lot of kind of like diffs, like if I'm working with a huge subset of data, and I was going to ask, with your training data, when it scrapes through everything, will it kind of sort through all of the content that it got and throw out, repeated headers or repeated questions? But you said you're using Web Pilot to kind of structure it as it goes through those.
Yeah. So for right now, yeah. So so like, for example, if I go and this is something that like I figured out with ChatGPT and we'll be implementing within our platform like natively. So if you select the plugins option, and then in the plugins, you search for Web Pilot. Looks like this. This is like by far my favorite ChatGPT plugin. And it allows you to enter in a website URL, and then it can read all of the data from that website URL and then use that information to do stuff in ChatGPT. So like one of the best examples that I'll do is like before a sales call, I'll be like, give me the TLDR on this biz, and then paste in the website URL. And then it will be like, okay, this business does this and this and this. But what we're talking about is we could essentially do generate QA pairs on this website. And this should, if Dr. Pepper doesn't have a blocker, this should work. And so it's reading the info.
So I'm not sure. So Ross, was something like Web Pilot, is that using like a Node.js kind of thing? Like you said blockers will stop it from being able.
Yeah. So that's like a growing thing now. A bunch of bigger sites and bigger like enterprise agencies are adding the I think it's just called GPT bot, but that's like the bot that is used by this one, Bing. So this is like the native one that people are blocking, and there's conversations happening and threads happening right now. Like I was reading one this morning that this is starting to carry over to other scrapers. So
yeah,
I just preface this just in the sense that when I do demos, it seems like 80% of the time it doesn't work on the demo, and of course it works every other single time. So it just kind of
nice.
Saving face a little bit, but
it literally happened to me in a meeting yesterday.
Oh, it's the
I
worst.
get there, sit in this fancy office with this big wig there in the corner office. I'm like, check this demo we made you. I send it over. He opens it up, starts playing around with it, and he's like, this thing's already giving me a bloody headache.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was funny, dude. But
It's like
fine.
those are the times where it's like, okay, this is how you become a better. I'm always trying to like,
Yeah, but you gotta have those moments.
Yeah. So we'll be building that basically inside the chatbot sources section. So what will happen is after you add the website URL here, there will be a little button that will say generate QA. and you can click it, and then all of that will be added as info to the QA section that you can then modify and, go as needed. And essentially the idea there is it gets rid of all that extra data to make it so that way you can prioritize and have better responses just using the QA.
That's great. So when I initially saw the QA too, I don't know if it's Twilio, but there's a couple, whether it was telecom, they would do like that routing, so you're not using credits based on the QA. So that was one of the reasons I brought that up, because that could cut down potentially on token costs, in half
for everyone.
And especially with that new feature you're putting in there with the web scraping, web pilot. If you have it generate or kind of like bake some template question responses, that's just, again, that's going to add more profit margin because you're not using tokens for stuff you've already scraped and have a definite idea on. But so that just brings me to, like, I guess my last two questions. You'll have to forgive me, I wasn't able to go through like the roadmap
That's okay.
all the way yet, but I wanted to know, are you planning on having like metrics or like reporting, so basically you could prioritize, like, if 50% of your customers are asking this question, then you could say like, oh, there's a common response, and then build more cached, like, baked answer responses in to further curb your costs and get more profits, like from the white labeling or whatever.
Definitely. So there's a few things that we have on there already that might solve this, and we can modify them as needed. The first is going to be a variation of some sort of daily summary. So here's all the chats that happened, or links where that's kind of the general idea. The other is like full analytics. So that's more like numbers based. How many people chatted, conversations, chat messages, all the things. That's another thing. And then let's see.
Kind of like word cloud, like dashboard-esque, just throwing all of your data into that, like, homepage.
Yeah, there's one that's kind of related, that's allowing customers to be like, did this answer your question correctly or not? And then like upvote yes or no, and then that notifies you to update that question and answer pair. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of things, like, I think surrounding that like when all enabled together might prove a solution for that.
Got it.
Were you thinking more along the lines of like, this is the question that everybody's asking on a daily basis, and like that's what we need to return? Or
that, I mean, I think it comes back to the Q&A features that are going to be rolling out.
Okay.
For me, being that, like, I'm rolling this out, and we're working to make it fit like our product selection. The big thing, like, I'm always concerned with scalability and everything, is obviously that, what is the potential worst case scenario? It's great if we get 1,000 customers in the first day, and it just eats through our chat tokens, as long as we're getting sales, or keeping that managed. Because I guess what I'm getting at is the biggest thing we were thinking of is cost.
Yeah.
It's just a big variable, and if we don't do it right, then it's gonna affect us.
Yeah. So is it all internal that you're doing, or are you deploying these on clients?
Right now we're just like in a testing phase, but it would be like a publicly accessible, with our drop shipping company support staffing, basically.
Got it. Okay.
So like some of the other competitors, like Revzilla and stuff, if peak hours they're getting 5,000 something users. There's a lot of questions and just even responses that really don't require any kind of AI, or we've done it so many times we know how to respond to it just through the virtue of the, the keywords in the question.
Mhm.
So that and stuff like, especially, if someone's DDoSing or, attacking our site, if they like, are there any qualifiers as far as someone just kind of, I'm going to burn this, this company's support, budget. And
Yeah.
then there's those kind of attacks that we might have to deal with.
We've
So
dealt
that,
with those. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And the good thing is, like, we have certain protections, I guess, in place to where you can't like bot the system in a sense. Like each session is a combination of a couple different things that I could try to regurgitate, but it's not going to be 100% correct. But it's a variation of like IP address, session ID, user UID. Like these are all things that we're kind of capturing. So the ability to like send a bot to the system now to just like, oh, we're going to send 10,000 chat conversations all at once, all sending the same things, technically is not possible. And knock on wood that someone doesn't come, around with a hack for that. But so far, we've been able to fix and modify everything to protect against that.
Yeah. So those were, I think you covered most of them. I really like that HTML markup is in. I'm going to explore that a bit. But I think it would be a great feature if there was some kind of like preprocessor or wrapper that we could edit to give those like pre-detected responses. That would help us with that kind of thing too. Attacks, if they're sending us the same thing and we've already queried on that kind of question, if we could kind of save it and reuse it, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, I wrote that down. We'll get that added. I'll talk to the team about that, see what we can do.
Thank you. Love it. This is great.
Of course. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, just kind of open the floor. Anybody?
Yeah, I've got a question that come up in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
How are you with the Shopify integration? Forgive me if you've already done that, but I have noticed.
In the sense of being able to like pull data from a Shopify store?
In the sense of, yeah, getting the stock numbers and yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's on the roadmap, but we haven't started on that yet.
No, cool. Just came up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that will probably be realistically probably beginning of next year.
All right. That's
probably. Cool. Yeah. So that and the WooCommerce one will be one as well, because we're going to be doing inventory tracking. And then there was one other one. A version of product availability, which is kind of a version of inventory. So
all right, tracking in what sense? Like order tracking?
Yeah, like order tracking, because all that is generally public information. So via the API, we'll be able to do a call to that resource, like UPS,
That's cool.
USPS, whatever it may be. But it's honestly endless, because the examples that OpenAI was actually giving us was they were querying like the weather station API. So like somebody could ask the chatbot, like, hey, are you open today? And the chatbot would be like, it's raining, so we're closed.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. I was like, it's kind of cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's the cool thing is like we do, like I was mentioning on Tuesday, everything we do, everything in building blocks.
Yeah.
So the lead gen is kind of the first piece. Then the in-chat capturing of information is the second piece. That piece allows us to interface with APIs, which is how we're going to do the automatic scheduling, which will give us enough information and basically power to interface with other APIs similar to Google or the weather one or Shopify or whatever it may be. So it's all
cool.
kind of building on itself.
Yeah, it's amazing to see and watch it grow.
Yeah.
But it's so big, like it completely changed the value proposition. Like all the value of the chatbot with the calendar booking support and the lead generation mainly just changes the whole structure of how to
Exactly.
price it and put it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I think even it would be advantageous too to work on a billing model where you could charge clients based off of leads generated at the end of the month or
that's what I was after Tuesday. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That's a cool idea.
And just thinking like in general, like off platform, you could bill that as like, hey, you sign up, we're going to give you this AI chatbot for free and set it up for free. Typically that costs $2,000. It's all
right.
Everything's for free. Set it up, and then we're only going to bill you after you generate leads. And because the way that you're setting it up, it's going to pull that information down. Then at the end, and you'll be able to track all that data. You can be like, all right, well, do you want this to continue next month? Here's the bill, pay it. And because you control it, you can just turn it off or remove it. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, right.
Everything gets uploaded to YouTube. But yeah, so yeah, exciting stuff.
Oh yeah. Where are you based, by the way?
I'm in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. Cool.
Yep. And then
you watching F1?
I drove past them paving. I saw kind of them paving it all, and it's wild. Like they shut down the Bellagio fountain. Like it's the whole main strip is all shut down essentially.
Yeah, I saw. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if I'll be able to hear it from my house.
No, you definitely will. If you're within a 10-kilometer radius, I'm pretty sure you will.
I'm right on the edge. So I'm curious.
Right.
Yeah. I'll probably go and closer just to kind of, hear it, but I don't think I'm going to go and
right.
pay 10 grand for a seat or something ridiculous.
It's stupid. Like it's the prices of the tickets since it's grown in popularity. It's stupid.
Yep. I'm just like, yep.
Interesting.
When I hear people like, oh, thank you for paying my state taxes. Oh man.
Cool, guys. That's me, eh? Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Best of luck. We'll chat to you soon. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks for joining. Talk to you soon.
You too, mate.
See ya.
Same here. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you guys.
See ya.
Oh,
everyone bailed.
Oh yeah. Got some. Yeah, I could really use this to get some one-on-one, but I think all my questions were answered.
Cool, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like I said already, it's incredible, and all this you're building, mate, it's something to be proud of.
Thank you.
So cool.
It's so cool to like hear the feedback from people, and it's nice that I'm able to share it with the rest of the team now because they can start hearing it, and everybody on the team is just like, we're so stoked that people actually are using it and loving it. Like aside from everything else, like that's like the one thing that we're all like, it's so cool. It's so like rewarding,
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, like the first thing when I started with you guys, I had my first onboarding call like 2 months ago with Drew, Since then, I've been just trying to understand it and work from there. I should get to outreach by now. Like I should get some at least some emails sent today. And yeah, it's really actually starting, so that's super cool.
There you go, starting.
But yeah, it is exciting. It's really dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all of your team is super amazing. Like you've got a team there, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And it's so cool that there's like more things to look ahead to. Like even with all the lead gen stuff, we then have like the voice chat stuff where we can add in custom voice chat stuff. There's the live chat features, which are going to be insane. Like there's so much like more added value that's like gonna come in the future, that it's like, yeah, it's a cool thing. I'm stoked to be working on it.
It's amazing. Like the first time I was a little bit hesitant. Like this seems good, but what is the future proofing in this? Like it's building up something on somebody else's systems, obviously. Like I haven't created anything basically, but seeing you guys, like you just know it's gonna last for a long time, and I can be confident and that it's not gonna just fail on me when it gets going.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because there's
like
so many of those out there that just like some random guy in India made.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like who made this? I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's why it's cool from you to hear repeatedly that you're building the foundation, and from there. So that's just not rushing every feature and waiting until it cracks. It's
exactly.
That's a good way to
add foundation, power. Yeah, all good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. How come there were 2 office hours this week?
Good question. Because I put them on the calendar, and then I think like people just book them when they want. I think I'm testing my availability, maybe.
Right.
I have to check.
No, it's good. I could get used to this. It's just even not having any questions, just hearing what everybody comes up with, and even things like pricing. Like it's so hard to come up with that, and hearing somebody else how they approach it, it helps a lot.
Yeah. I think it helps a lot of other people as well. Like I think I'm gonna need to clip out sections of these meetings, so it's not just an hour-long meeting that people have to sit through. Because there is good portion, like when I was talking about those other agencies that are charging more for credit rebilling than the monthly. Like that's
an interesting take. Like it's completely different.
Yeah, completely different than everyone else I've talked to. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And because it works within their model, it just makes sense. Something I never even really thought of, but now I'm thinking like, okay, well, that makes a ton of sense. Like, you can make more money on the rebilling than you do on the monthly.
Yeah, it's an interesting way, and it's much easier to set up. Like you don't really have the big hassle. Setting up all the APIs and stuff like that.
And if you can position it as here's a completely zero risk free thing, and because it's so easy to set up, it's essentially just like plug and play, implement. They generate leads, and you'll be notified when they generate those leads. Like it's gonna,
exactly.
It's just gonna be like what be crazy.
Like I was really surprised that I didn't see the fact that there's free trials in the professional tier or the agency tier. Like that's also amazing, because that's one thing that when I was really thinking about the offer value proposition, it's like I won't be in the position to provide free trials for a long time before the revenue gets going. And this is amazing. So first few clients, just build up to the agency subscription from your side, and we're golden. It's gonna be interesting. And with that comes actually one question. Right now, from the first few subscription levels, you can't buy additional chatbots and additional credits, right?
No, you can You and your clients can. You just have to make sure that you actually set them up.
Right. So it's not the endpoint for me for this. I want to get to the top tier as fast as possible because it's going to help with everything. Everything's supposed to be cheaper and stuff like that. But now I can still buy just 10,000 credits additionally from the base. All right, I haven't found that in the menu or the app.
So in if you go in your account under billing and usage or subscription,
Yep.
purchase additional credits.
Oh, I'm blind.
Oh, all good. No worries.
Well, sorry for that.
No worries.
Yeah. You can see subscription practice.
Yeah, we're gonna update all of this to include the white label free trials, all the other stuff, because this is like very bare.
Yeah, no worries. I don't have it there. I don't have that toggle there.
Are you logged into app.stammer.ai?
I'm logged into app. I'm logged into my one. Oh, god damn it.
Try doing it on Stammer.
Yep. No, still nothing. App.stammer.ai. I can share my screen
Yeah, let me see.
if you want to. How do I do that?
Are you on a paid plan?
There you go. No, I'm not. I'm on the free one still.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, that's okay.
why.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, right. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
I've actually done my pilot's license, so I'm not really cash heavy, but
Wow, that's exciting.
yeah, that's the first plan to become a pilot, but this got me really excited. So yeah, focusing a lot on this, and hopefully it will turn out good.
Then you can buy a plane.
Yeah, well, I'll sure give you a ride, man.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so upon updating the subscription, yeah, it's gonna be there. Cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, I think I won't bother you anymore.
No, you're good.
No.
No worries. Always good chatting.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really cool.
Cool. Well, yeah, let me know if you have any other questions, like always, and hope to see you in next Tuesday.
What's the best way to contact you? Is it the email?
Yeah, you can email me, DM me. I'll put my email in the thing.
Yeah, it's the Ross ad site, right? Okay, cool.
Stammer for this one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm using Cyrite's the one that I use for like all my scheduling and stuff.
Oh yeah, like that. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, because I talked to so many people, and I'm just like, I don't want you to have my
I get it.
email.
So get it.
Cool.
All right, so Tuesday it is.
Sounds good. Yeah, hope to see you then.
Cool. Sounds good. All right.
Talk to you later. See ya.
Cheers. Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Bye.